we are happy to say that we've been told we've got a year 7 of the fund, so that's next year. So we've got this year and next year again with the fund. So that's really good news from Scottish Government. Sorry, I'm just letting a few more people in. So really good news from Scottish Government that we've been given a year 7. We're now moving on to year 6 of the fund. So a fund summary from the 25 to 27 multi-year element of the fund, we had just over 1.2 million distributed to the sector with 68 applications. Of that, 35 were awarded and 33 were rejected. You can see where it says smallest award and smallest requested. These were errors where organisations had actually applied to the wrong fund. So these didn't come out of this pot of money. They were then transferred into the 1 year pot, but we couldn't do it on our system at the time. So they're reflected here, but they're not reflected in the 1.2 million. A fund overview. So these are the applications that came in from each locality. Camglen, we had 11 applications. Clydesdale, we had 14. East Kilbride, we had 12. Hamilton, we had 19. And then we had 10 and 2 from Motherwell. So 10 from outside of South Lanarkshire. These were possibly nationals or organisations that have an address outside South Lanarkshire that run services within. Within the other fund, the 1 year fund, we had 170 applications split across the 4 localities. So the fund on both sides was really oversubscribed this year. The awards by locality, so we had 7 in Camglen, 5 in Clydesdale, 7 in East Kilbride and 14 in Hamilton. Bearing in mind, Hamilton has its own quite distinct localities within it. So we've got Larkhall, Blantyre and then Hamilton itself. 1 in Motherwell and 1 outside of South Lanarkshire, but they were delivering grassroots organisations within South Lanarkshire, and these are organisations that were funded previously and have a relationship with, so they were not national organisations. And then the financial split over the 4 localities. So moving into year 6, and this is a fund that's going to open in September with £181,622 to spend. Now that is obviously a lot less than what we usually have. We usually have between £800,000 and £900,000 to spend. Now the reason it is a lot less is because when the multi-year money was announced, Vastland, all TSIs were given the option of the grants being either 60%, between 60% and 80% used for multi-year money. We chose 80% of the fund to go towards multi-year money. That way we could report better on how multi-year money is more effective within the sector and how it is needed more. That is why the amount for 1 year grants this year is a lot less. So because of that, we're capping grants at £10,000. And if you had a multi-year project funded, so if you're still receiving money for a 2-year project, you cannot apply again for that project, but you can still apply as an organisation for another project. So it's not excluding your organisation from applying, you just cannot apply for the multi-year project. And this year, because we only have £181,000 to spend, we are capping it that only one application per organisation can come in. So you can't apply for multiple grants, you can only apply for 1 this year. However, the good news for the multi-year funded applications are, once I can get my PowerPoint to play, is Scottish Government are proposing an extension of funding. So Scottish Government have put the proposal to us that there is a possibility of a 1 year extension for multi-year funded groups. Now, this will be based on impact reporting and suitability. You will not be expected to reapply to the fund. So if you were funded £40,000 split over the 2 years, then you would receive £20,000 as a third year, a year 3 amount of money for that original grant that you got. However, this is based on impact reporting and suitability, which I'm now going to go into. The reporting and monitoring requirements, as always with this fund, we have always tried to keep the reporting requirements as simple and straightforward as possible, and we don't plan on changing that. So I am at the moment creating a tailored document for all multi-year funded groups, which will provide each organisation with the details of your current grant award, and the total amount of funding that your organisation has received from the fund since it started. The impact itself, there are questions that Scottish Government are requiring to be answered, so these will be within the document. I wouldn't class them as being onerous. I think they are quite well worded questions to try and gauge that impact on paper. The information that you provide will help demonstrate the difference that the fund's making to your communities across South Lanarkshire. Myself and Charlie Duffin will also be doing site visits, and the purpose of these are for us to see firsthand the work that's been delivered, discuss any progress, any issues, any shared learning, where year 3 would be beneficial, because I think if you can put it in a document all day long, but it's quite hard to get across that impact. So we're going to come out and meet with your organisations and have that discussion. What will then happen is all of that will go to an independent panel, and the independent panel will then have a discussion, exactly the same way as we do it at the moment with application forms, and decide about the year 3, the additional year of funding. What Vaslan intend to do is, we have already been told we're getting money next year, is we are going to ring fence at 660 odd £1,000 that we have to ring fence for every organisation to get a year 3. If there is a situation where a project is no longer being delivered, or it is not suitable to fund a project for a year 3, then that money would go back into the pot and will be available for next year's, for the year 7 fund that will go out to the wider sector. So either way, the money will go back out into the sector. So the important dates for the £181,000 is that the fund opens on the 24th of August. It closes on the 5th of October. Panels will take place in January, and payments will be made to groups from the 2nd of February. So very similar to how we ran the fund last year. It will be an 18-month award, so it will not be multi-year money this year. It will be a one-off award that can be spent within 18 months of when you receive the money. What we done last year is we didn't have the capacity to come back and forth with groups, which meant your application was basically assessed on the way it came in. We don't plan on doing that this year because we are limiting it to one application per group. We should have the capacity to come back and support applications before they go to panel, which should strengthen the ability of grassroots organisations when applying for this fund. So just to recap, multi-year projects cannot apply for the grant this year. However, your organisation can apply for a separate project. Grants are capped at £10,000. There is a 1-year extension which may be possible for multi-year groups depending on reporting and impact assessments. Impact assessments will be assessed by an independent panel, so Vaslan will not be making the final decision on that year 3 of money. And as you know, your organisation must be a member of Vaslan to apply for funding. My contact information is there. I think you have all got my email address anyway. I can do a one-to-one with you. I can sit and go through this in any kind of more detail that you need, or come out and meet with your group if there's anything that you want to discuss, or if you are having any issues spending your current grant. That is no problem whatsoever. So what I'm going to do now is, that is a presentation done. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to open up to questions. If no one's comfortable, or if you're not comfortable asking questions in this forum, you can email me separately or give me a wee call and I can take any questions off this forum. So it's completely up to you. If anyone has any questions, if you want to raise the wee hand, or just come in and I can answer as much as I can. Claire?
Hi, Joanne. Hi there. So the 10,000 is over an 18-month period, but could it be for a 12-month project, or does it have to be the 18 months?
No. So it's 18 months max. So it could be for a 6-month project or a 12-month. It doesn't have to be spent over 18 months. It's just an 18-month max project.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Perfect. Thank you.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I was just, sorry, you might have said this already, but I was checking. So if you've already got a multi-year fund, which we do, then Can you apply? Is this a single award for a different project, or can you
Yes.
can you apply for this? This is a separate thing then, or you can tag it on to you, but you can't tag it on to the project you've got already. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so you can't.
Right.
It can't be an additional onto the multi-year funded project. It has
Just a
to be
separate
its
thing.
own. Yeah, it has to
Right.
be its own project, which doesn't have to be a brand new project. If you've got other projects running, you can apply for it through their projects. It's not a problem. So we don't need you to reinvent or try and come up with new projects. It can be an existing project. It just can't be one funded under the multi-year grant.
Right. Okay. That's good. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure that I've covered. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else from this morning, any questions that get asked from this morning that might be beneficial, but I don't think there were. The other question from this morning was, when would you find out about year 3? So I'm planning to do it the same way that we're doing the fund itself. Over the next few weeks, you will start hearing from me individually with your impact assessments, which I would be asking you to complete and get back to me. There will be a deadline on that email. I'll try and give you plenty of time to do it. Then we would be looking to do site visits as soon as possible. So if myself and Charlie will come out and have a wee chat with you. I do go on annual leave the end of next week for 2 weeks. So that would be towards the end of August that we would start doing that. And then we would look for a panel to meet in January and for you to find out in February whether you would be getting a year 3. And the benefit of that is you'll still be within your year 2 of your project, of your funding. So you'll know within year 2 whether you're getting that 3rd year extension. So it's not going to be that the project's coming to an end and then you're finding out. We'll give you plenty of notice whether you are getting that year 3 extension or not. Okay, so if everyone's quite happy with that, then I'm quite happy to end the recording. They will be up on our website in the next few days, and I'm here up until next Friday if anyone wants to contact me, and then I'm back again on the 12th of August. So if anyone would like to book some time in with myself around the fund or anything else, it's not a problem. Thank you all for coming or for attending, and I look forward to seeing the applications come in.